Good morning, second grade. I am so happy to talk to you. I wish I could see you. I can't believe we only have a couple more weeks left of second grade. That's crazy. All right, this week we're going to review main idea. For both of your lessons for me today will be about main idea, figuring out what the text is mostly about. So, what we're going to do right now is we're going to review what main idea is with the same chart that we used last week. Okay. Main idea. How can you determine the main idea of a text? So these are giving us, remember, these are giving us little hints at how to determine the main idea of a text. First, we want to ask ourselves, what is the text mostly about? Same thing as the main idea. We're thinking about the main idea. We're thinking about what the text is mostly about. As we think about and look for the main idea, we want to look for clue words that are repeated. So when we're reading a text, if there are a lot of words repeated, that's probably going to tell us what the text is mostly about or give us hints as to what the text is mostly about. If you are reading an article, you want to look at the title, headings, and pictures. Those all give us clues what the main idea is. Another way to help you figure out the main idea is to reread the first and the last sections of the text. If it's just a paragraph, that would be rereading the first and last sentences of the text. But today we're going to be working with articles, you want to reread the first and the last sections of the text. Those point to the main idea. So remember our little rainbow down here? The main idea is what the text is mostly about. Now, we're not just talking about the main idea today. You're also going to have questions about details. Details are sentences that tell more about, describe, or explain the main idea. They give us more information about what the text is mostly about. So, today we're going to read an article. I'm going to read it to you, and then we're going to look at two questions about the article. And then I'm going to read your article that you will be working on under the assignments tab to you, and I'll read the questions, and then you will go to the assignments to complete it. Ready? All right, this is the article we're going to read together. Let's explore caves. That's the title of the article. Now remember, one way we can help ourselves figure out the main idea is by reading titles and headings of the article. So the title is Let's Explore Caves. I wonder if the main idea, what the text is mostly about, could be caves. Let's take a look. Now, there's a picture of the inside of a cave. We talked about this text feature right before we left for spring break. This text feature tells us more about the picture. Do you remember what it's called? It's called a caption. So let me read the caption. A cave is an empty space inside Earth. Its opening is usually on the side of a hill. Caves are filled with a lot of interesting things. What hangs out in caves? I'm going to read, and as I'm reading, we're going to think about what the text is mostly about, right? Caves are home to many different animals. Like any home, a cave suits the creatures that live in it. Some animals can survive only in a cave's unique ecosystem. An ecosystem is an environment in which certain plants and animals depend on each other to live. So, just what lives in caves? That paragraph was all about caves and that they have lots of animals in them and what exactly a cave is. Okay, now we're going to learn about what lives in a cave. Remember, this text feature, it's not the title's up here. This text feature is telling us about what this next paragraph will be about. Do you remember what this text feature is called? It's called a heading. So the heading is a blind find. You might see blind salamanders in caves, but they won't see you. Blind salamanders do not need sight. They live in the darkest parts of caves, in water or on land. They are able to catch food by feeling the movements of other animals. Here's another, what's it called? What's that text feature? Heading. It's a heading. Hanging around. Many bats sleep in cave doorways. They fly out to find food. Some bats hibernate in caves during the winter. The next heading, oops, sorry. Lots of legs. Millipedes like to chill out in the cool, damp middle sections of caves. They can have anywhere from 80 to 400 legs. Wow. Having so many legs helps them dig their way underground. Ooh, I do not like snakes. Let's look at this heading, right? Sneaky snakes. Oh, no. Rat snakes do not live in caves, but they sure do like to visit. Rat snakes slither through cave openings to look for food. It doesn't sound like I want to go to a cave. What about you? Do you think you would want to go in a cave with all these creepy animals? Okay, so now we're going to answer a couple questions together. Question 1. The main idea of this passage is, now remember, main idea is what the text is mostly about. So we want to answer this question. The main idea of this passage is A, blind salamanders live in caves. I'm going to think about each answer as we look through it, right? Blind salamanders live in caves. Did our text talk about salamanders, blind salamanders? Let's look up. It did. But is that what our whole text is mostly about? It looks like blind salamanders was just a section of our text. Well, I don't think that that's right. I might type an X next to it to help me remember. That I don't think that's the right answer. Okay. B, caves can be found in many places. Well, if I look back at our text, caves can be found in many places. Well, each of the sections and the headings all have to do with animals. I don't know if it even talks about where caves are found. I don't think that's right. That is not what the text is mostly about. C, caves are home to many animals. Let's look back. Well, we've talked about this with the other answers. Each section, each heading has to do with an animal. Okay, now remember, if we think back to our chart, to help us find the main idea of a text, we can look at the title, headings, and pictures. So let's go back. The title is Let's Explore Caves, and the headings, A Blind Find, are all about animals. And remember, another thing we can check when looking for the main idea is rereading the first section of the text. Let's look back. Caves are home to many different animals. Wait, right off the bat, it talks about how caves have different animals. Like any home, the cave suits the creatures that live in it. Some animals can... Wow, and it's that first paragraph is talking about animals that live in caves, and all the sections have to do with that. This one could be it, but let's check this. I think this one is it, but we're going to check the last one first. Caves need protection from pollution. Animals. I don't see anything about pollution in here, so we know that that's definitely not what the text is mostly about. So what is our answer? C. Our answer is C. Caves are home to many animals. We found that out. Make that red since that's the right answer. We found out, looking through the headings and the titles, that it is mostly about animals that live in caves. Okay, so remember supporting details. What are supporting details? Number 2, a supporting detail from this passage is, now before we answer this question, let's look back. Details are sentences that tell more about, describe, or explain the main idea. So they explain our main idea. So we know that our main idea is C, caves are home to many animals. So which one of these supports that main idea? A, some bats hibernate in caves during the winter. Well, we read about bats in our article, and it talks about how they live in caves. Does that support that caves are home to many animals? Well, I think it does. It tells more about an animal and that it lives in a cave. So I'm not putting an X by that one. That one sounds like it could be right. Let's look at the next one. Millipedes have millions of legs. Well, it did talk about millipedes, but does that sentence tell us what that has to do with caves? No, it doesn't. So that can't be a right answer. That doesn't support the fact that caves are home to many animals. It just talks about his legs. Stalagmites hang from the ceilings of caves. Okay, it talks about caves, but I don't remember learning about a stalagmite. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. Let's look up snakes, millipedes, bats. I know that bats hang from ceilings, but we didn't read not salamanders. Yeah, blind salamanders. There's nothing about stalagmites in our text, so that can't be a supporting detail. Cross that out. D, no animal can survive in a cave. No animal can survive in a cave. Well, that's just not true because it talks about 1, 2, 3, 4 animals that do live and survive in caves. So that can't be the right answer. Cross that out, which tells us the correct answer is A. Some bats hibernate in caves during the winter. That sentence supports our main idea that caves are home to many animals. Okay, now let's look at number 3 really quick. 3. What is another supporting detail from the text? Okay, supporting detail. Remember, some bats hibernate in caves during the winter is a supporting detail. Let's review supporting details real quick. Details are sentences that tell more about, describe, or explain the main idea. So what's another supporting detail from the text? Now, you might remember another supporting detail, but I like to go back to the text and check. So I'm going to go back. Oh, I don't want to talk about snakes. So what's another supporting detail from the text that talks more about animals living in caves? I kind of thought the salamander was cool. It says you might see blind salamanders in caves. They won't see you. They don't need sight. That doesn't really have to do with caves. They live in the darkest parts of caves. Okay. I think that would support our main idea that salamanders live in the darkest parts of caves in water or land. Because our main idea is animals that live in caves, right? It talks about an animal, salamander, and that it lives in the darkest part of caves. So I think that is a supporting detail that supports our main idea. So let's scroll down. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to just copy the sentence from the text. You can just kind of give me a summary of the supporting detail, right? So I'm going to say salamanders live in the darkest parts of caves. Does that support our main idea? It does, because remember, our main idea, our caves are home to many animals. In that sentence right there, it tells us an animal that lives in a cave. Now, for your assignment, when you go to the assignments, it's going to say May 11th, main idea. This is what you're going to read. I'm going to read it to you really quickly. We're going to look at the questions, and then I'm going to give you time to answer under assignments. Ready? This is called Desert Plants. That's the title. Plants that live in the dry, hot desert have special adaptations to survive. A cactus, for example, stores water in its thick leaves and stems. Some desert plants have leaves with waxy covering to hold in water. They may send toots over a large area of soil to take in water. So the question is, what is the main idea of this paragraph? And then what is a detail that supports the main idea? You're going to finish that in the assignments tab. Let me know if you have questions. Bye.